21-year-old student Sandra Pugac is suing her ex-boyfriend, 23-year-old grad student Surya Gunasekara, for a series of unpaid loans. Surya says the money in question was a gift.
Yana, this is number 39 on the calendar, the matter of Pugac versus Gunasekara. Really. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Ms. Pugac, what's your first name?
Sandra.
Mr. Gunasekara, your first name?
Surya.
How long have the two of you been dating?
We dated for about 2.5 years.
Did you live together?
No.
But it is your claim that while you were dating, you made a series of loans to him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Gunasekara says there were no loans, just the give and take of a normal dating relationship, and he acknowledges that you laid out some money for him. He said that that's part of the dating relationship. Is that right, sir?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. When did you start dating?
We started dating in October of 2002.
And when was the first loan that you made to him?
In July of 2004.
What was it for?
It was for a trip. We went on a couple of trips after he got back from Europe after he graduated from college. And the first trip we made was with his parents to Canada. And when we would go out, I would pay. And he would always say, oh, when we get back and I get a job, I'll pay you back. And then we went to my hometown in Georgia, and I paid for the hotel, and we went out to dinner, and he said that he would pay for half of it when we got back, and he got a job.
Well, did he ever get a job?
No.
Huh?
No, Your Honor.
He never got a job?
Not until recently.
What's next?
In August, I went to Barcelona to study abroad for the semester, and I thought he was going to stay home and get a job so he could finally get the money to pay me back. And I would question him on if he's been applying to jobs. He would say he would go into interviews, so I figured he was on a line to get a job eventually, hopefully sooner than later.
Go ahead, Sandra. I'm listening for the rest of the loans.
Okay, so then he moved to Europe, and he eventually came to Barcelona, and I paid for his rent while he lived there, and I paid for his food, and anywhere we would go out, I would pay. And every time I would give him money, he would say, don't worry, you know, when we get back, I'll get a job. I promise I'll pay you back.
Keep going.
Then we finally came back to the States, and he was going to interviews quite often. He would say he got a job offer, but then wouldn't take it.
Keep going with the loans, my dear.
So in March of 2005, we took a trip to Las Vegas, and I paid for everything while we were there. And then I really just got tired of him not paying me back. We got back home.
You say in your complaint that he wanted $500 to gamble with.
Yes.
And you gave it to him.
I did.
Who are these two gentlemen over here?
This is my roommate, Danny McGee, and he was in Vegas with us. And then this is my friend, Devin, and he is a mutual friend of ours. He used to hang out with us. He would see me giving Surya money all the time and him promising to pay me back.
Well, I want to hear about the promise to pay you back. Raise your hand, please.
Sorry, my
Name?
name's Danny. Danny McGee. I'm roommates with Sandy, and I went on a trip to Vegas with both of them. And there's been times in the past where she would give him money to gamble with the agreement that if he lost, she would take the loss, and if he won, that they'd split the winnings. And this trip to Vegas, she was hesitant to go because he didn't have any money. And we got out there, and I saw her $200 or $300 that he borrowed from her. And she said specifically at the time, I'm going to give you this money, and if you lose, you owe it to me. And he agreed and actually lost all the money. And since then, I know he's had 2 jobs and has made no effort to pay her back whatsoever.
You have anything to add to this case?
Yeah, I do, actually. Should I stand up?
Yes, you should.
Okay. Well,
Your name?
my name is Devin Stinson, and I've called him before in the past, and I've said, hey, let's go get some food or something. And he'd say, well, you got to call Sandy because I don't have any money. And then I'd call Sandy, and we'd all go out, and then what would wind up happening is he would order, and then after everything was over, he would say, well, I don't have any money, and he'd just expect it to be paid for.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ball's in your court.
Well, first off, let me say that the only reason I went to Europe was because I had a job. I had an internship with a software company, and I had that for a while, and it
didn't end up working out. My plane ticket wasn't for 6 weeks later, so Sandy and I both agreed that it would be good to spend that 6 weeks together because I was actually living in Switzerland at the time. And so I came down to Barcelona. And I did have some income through a rental property of mine. So I was making some type of money.
Surya, how old are you?
23.
Am I correct? According to your answer, you're in law school now?
No, not till August.
Where?
Thomas Jefferson or the University of Denver. I haven't chosen one.
What college did you graduate from?
University of Colorado.
And you?
I'm still in school at the University of Colorado.
Where do you get all this money from, Sandra?
I have 2 jobs that I work.
What 2 jobs do you work?
I am the assistant manager at a bowling alley at the school, and I work for the housing department at the university.
Who's paying your tuition?
My parents are.
Did they like him?
Sometimes. Most of the time.
Well, I'm sure he can be charming.
You sure can.
When the first time you went out for dinner with him, and he said, "I'm sorry, I left my wallet in my other car. I left my wallet in Switzerland." That should have been a clue. Sounds to me, based upon what this young man has testified to, that this was sort of a regular occurrence. You would go out for a meal, he would eat, and you would pay. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Should have known better, Sandra. Who is this, by the way?
This is Ryan Watson. He's my roommate.
Does he have anything to contribute to this case?
Yeah. I'll let him explain.
I witnessed on many occasions Surya doing favors for Sandy, tutoring her and cleaning and making her dinner and things like that. And on some of those occasions, she would ask Surya to help her do those things, and Surya would say, "No, not right now, I'm busy." But then she would say, "Surya, you owe me so much money," using that against him, and he would end up doing that. So in both our opinions...
So you mean he was bartering domestic chores
Right.
for the money he owed her?
Right.
And educational, Your Honor.
Syria, do you think that Sandra tutored you in some things?
As far as school?
Anything!
It's quite possible.
She didn't charge you for it, did she?
Emotionally, she charged me.
How did she... Shh, come on, folks. Come on, behave. Let's behave. How did she charge you emotionally?
I had to put up with so much ridiculous nonsense.
Surya, that you don't have to put up with it. I don't want to hear it. You weren't tethered to a radiator, were you?
In a metaphorical sense.
No metaphorical
I was.
sense. No metaphorical
Literally,
sense.
no.
You were in Switzerland. She was in Barcelona. Nobody got a magnet and attached it to you in Switzerland. You came down there by your...
own recognizance.
You're not in law school yet. Let's stick to the English you understand, sir.
Okay.
You think you took advantage of her?
I don't.
You just think that she understood what she was getting herself into. She had the money at the time. You did not.
Right.
And she wanted to travel to Vegas. You said, "I'll go with you, but I have no money."
Yeah, she
And
understood
she said,
that I had no
"I got the money. You pay me back when you get a job."
No, the arrangement was she was going to cover all the expenses.
Why?
Why? Because they needed a third person to go. Danny and her weren't just going to go by themselves.
Why?
Because they needed motivation. And I was that motivation.
Sandra,
Yes,
you
sir.
schlepped around with him for 2 years.
Yes,
You
sir.
let him take advantage of you for 2 years. So then what you do is you say, "Thank God I figured out that this was not Mr. Right. Before I planned a wedding with him, I had a child with him." You can sit down now, roommate. I don't think you had a valid contract with him. I think you had the hopes and the dreams of a young lady who was in love. And I'm sure that there was a time when he felt mutually. But you're a giver, and he's a taker. Somehow in his own mind, he is entitled to take. Where are your parents?
In Santa Monica?
Did they indulge you?
Not really.
It sounds to me as if you've been indulged. Switzerland, Barcelona, working, not working, looking for just the right gig. The girlfriend takes care of you. There's a sense, Surya, of entitlement. Shh, do not answer. Now it's my turn. Sandra may find you irresistible, I guarantee you, sir. I do not. So, Sandra, I wish in my heart I could say to you, you had a valid contract, which is the only thing that I'm here to address. You did not have a contract recognized in the law for him to pay you back. But I'm telling you, I think that you're lucky, because you're a lovely-looking, intelligent, hard-working young lady who should not hitch her star to somebody who has a sense of entitlement and who will just use you in one way or another for your whole life. Got it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Goodbye. Good luck.
Parties are excused.
Sure,
You may
yes.
step out.
Grow up.
All parties in the matter of Grimm versus Bynum. Step forward, please.
Student Ingrid Grimm is suing the great-grandmother of her daughter's friend, Amy Bynum, for damage to their pocket bike. Ingrid says Amy's great-granddaughter, 9-year-old Michaela, wrecked it during a birthday party.
Miss Grimm, your daughter was having a birthday party. What birthday was she celebrating?
Actually, it was two of my daughters, my 11-year-old and my 13-year-old.
How many children did you have at the party?
There was approximately 20 to 25 children.
And Miss Bynum's granddaughter was one of those children, and you are her guardian, is that right?
Yes.
It is your claim that Miss Bynum's granddaughter rode a pocket bike. And it's a motorized bike, is that right?
Yes, gas.
And she damaged the bike. You want her grandmother to pay for it.
Yes.
Tell me how that happened.
Well, it was understood that the party...
Don't tell me what was understood. Just tell me what happened.
During the course of the party, we had allowed the children to ride. We have approximately 8 different bikes. And they were given certain rules that they had to follow in order to be able to ride the bikes. And Michaela did not follow those rules and therefore damaged the bike.
What rule didn't she follow?
Well, they were only supposed to go a certain distance, still within visual range of our house, which is approximately 8 to 9 houses, which is 1 block's length, turn around and come back. And then she was
And
supposed
who was
to take
watching
turns.
them at that time?
I was outside in the garage, and then my boyfriend, Rodney.
Well, who was watching Michaela? That's Michaela over there?
Yes.
Who was watching Michaela?
Everybody was, because
No,
the
no,
children...
no, not everybody. Were you watching her?
No, not at the time.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Ingrid Grimm says 9-year-old Michaela Nash wrecked her twin daughter's pocket bike while riding it at their birthday party. Michaela's great-grandmother, Amy Bynum, says Ingrid allowed Michaela to ride the bike without her consent.
Michaela, I want you to stand up next to your grandma, okay? How did you know that Michaela had damaged the bike? Did somebody come and say Michaela fell off the bike?
Yes. It was about 5 children that had come and told us that.
Who did they come and tell?
They told both me and Rodney.
So that what you're telling me, Miss Grimm, is that neither you nor Rodney were watching Michaela. Is that correct?
Yes, we were.
You weren't. Because you just said to me, 5 children came and told me that Michaela had had an accident on the bike. And I said, who did they come and tell? And you said they came and told me and my boyfriend, which suggests to me that neither you nor your boyfriend was supervising the child when she was on the bike. Right?
Okay, you can say that, yes.
You see, you don't have to say anything yet. You're going to tell me what happened to the bike, Michaela, very fast. Tell me what happened to the bike.
I ran into the curb and then the bike and the tire wouldn't move.
Were you driving someplace where you weren't supposed to be driving?
No.
Were you driving up the block?
Mm-hmm.
Had other children driven to the same location?
They drove a little farther.
Really? And who was watching you when you were driving?
Rodney.
Rodney. Where was he?
He was at the house.
Was he there when the other children were riding further than you rode?
Yes.
Were you hurt?
No.
Miss Grimm, I'm going to ask you a couple of more questions.
Okay.
Then I'm going to end this torture. Let us say, Michaela, who was driving a motorized bike in the street. The law permits you to do that?
Yes.
How fast do they go?
Anywhere from 15 to 20 miles, I think.
15 to 20 miles an hour?
Yes.
How old are you, Michaela?
9.
Miss Grimm, let us assume that, heaven forbid, Michaela had an accident on this bike and was injured. Do you think you would be liable for her injuries?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because she was at my party that I was supervising.
Correct. Mm-hmm. So why in the world would you think that her grandmother is responsible for the damage to the bike?
Because she did not follow the rules, and she went further than where she was supposed to.
That was your responsibility to make sure that she didn't, not her grandmother's. When you invite children to your home to a birthday party, you become an insurer of their well-being. It is your responsibility to supervise them all the time that they're there. And if you elect to allow them to ride on a vehicle that can go 15 to 20 miles an hour, if there's an accident, you are 100% responsible. Did you tell her grandmother you were going to be allowing her to drive that bike?
All the parents were aware.
Were you made aware of that fact?
No, I was not.
I asked you whether you made Miss Bynum aware that you were going to allow her granddaughter to ride this bike.
All the parents were aware.
No, you can't answer the question, Miss Grimm, by saying to me all the parents were aware. You can't tell me what they were aware of when I ask you a simple question, which is, did you tell Miss Bynum that her granddaughter was going to be using a motorized vehicle?
I told all the parents of
When
the children.
did you tell Miss Bynum?
Well, when she dropped the children off.
What did you tell Miss Bynum?
I let them know that...
No. What did you tell Miss Bynum? What did you tell Miss Bynum when she dropped off Michaela?
Well, we introduced ourselves, and I thanked her for allowing her granddaughter to come to the birthday party. I let them know that what was...
Not you let them know. I want you to tell me what you said to Miss Bynum.
I don't recall.
Miss Bynum, is anything said to you about your granddaughter riding a motorized bike?
No. I would not have left her at the party if it was.
But anyway, Miss Grimm, you are an insurer of the minor children left in your care and custody when you invite children to a birthday party. If they damage something in your home, it's your fault. If they hurt themselves when they damage something in your home, it's your fault. So you can't invite more children to a party than you're prepared to supervise properly. And I certainly would exercise better judgment than allowing a 9-year-old child to get on a motorized bike that's capable of going 20 miles an hour. Case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you.